of America and indeed the world has been discussing and dissecting the Trump-Biden debate for days now. Most, including scores of Democrats, are of the opinion that President Joe Biden's performance was an unmitigated disaster, one that dealt a massive blow to his re-election bid and the Democratic Party's prospects in the high-stakes U.S. presidential election this November. Having faced relentless scrutiny since then, with many questioning his cognitive abilities and readiness for another term in the White House, President Biden has blamed his poor debate performance on jet lag. He told reporters that he wasn't very smart for traveling around the world a couple of times before the debate. He stated, and I quote, "I didn't listen to my staff and then I nearly fell asleep on stage." It's not an excuse but an explanation. He also apologized for his performance and said it was critical that he win the upcoming election. White House officials have previously said he was battling a cold on the day of the debate. During last Thursday's debate, Biden appeared disoriented and confused and often sounded incoherent, repeatedly losing his train of thought and struggling through many of his responses, at some points even talking gibberish. Many say the debate crystallized the fears of Democrats about Biden's prospects and played right into Trump's claims that his rival is weak and mentally diminished. Can his argument blaming jet lag really help Biden's rapidly weakening case? Remember, he last returned from travel on the 15th of June, nearly 2 weeks ahead of the 27th June debate. For his part, Biden has vowed to stay in the race and insists that he is still up to the job and ready to take on and defeat Donald Trump. Is he though? It's not only Republicans and ordinary Americans who are raising questions over his mental fitness. The president's own party has been in panic mode since debate night, with many privately discussing if it was time for Biden to do the unthinkable, step aside and make way for a better Democratic candidate, for the party to have a chance at salvaging its electoral prospects. But the trouble for Biden is no longer confined to hand-wringing within the Democratic ranks behind closed doors. A congressman from Texas has become the first sitting Democratic lawmaker to call for him to step aside. Representative Lloyd Doggett has issued a statement saying, and I quote, "I'm hopeful that President Biden will make the painful and difficult decision to withdraw." Instead of reassuring voters, the president failed to effectively defend his many accomplishments and expose Trump's many lies. Doggett says too much is at stake to risk the president losing to Trump over fears about his age. He added, President Biden has the opportunity to encourage a new generation of leaders from whom a nominee can be chosen to unite our country through an open democratic process. While many prominent Democratic lawmakers have voiced their concerns about Biden's age and stamina, this is the first time someone has called for him to step aside. One of President Biden's most important backers, Congressman Jim Clyburn of South Carolina, has interestingly and significantly said he would support Vice President Kamala Harris as the party's nominee if Biden stepped down. Congressman Jamie Raskin, a Democrat from Maryland, told a news channel that the debate had created a difficult situation. He said, "There are very honest and serious and rigorous conversations taking place at every level of our party." Reports suggest many top Democratic Party figures are now asking for more openness and details on the president's health and mental state, as the anxiety about his re-election campaign seems to have evolved into an increasingly genuine threat to his grip on the Democratic nomination. Democratic Senator Peter Welch from Vermont has said, "The big question going into that debate was the age question. The outcome of the debate is that question about Biden's age has now intensified." Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi couched her comments by saying Biden is a great president, but added, "I think it is a legitimate question to ask. Is this an episode or is this a condition?" Illinois Representative Mike Quigley has said, "We have to be honest with ourselves that it wasn't just a horrible night." President Biden clearly has to understand that his decision not only impacts who is going to serve in the White House for the next 4 years, but also who's going to serve in the Senate, who's going to serve in the House, and it will have implications for decades to come. Another House Democratic lawmaker has been quoted on condition of anonymity as saying, "There is a large and increasing group of House Democrats concerned about the president's candidacy. We are deeply concerned about his trajectory and his ability to win. We want to give him space to make a decision about quitting the race, but we will be increasingly vocal about our concerns if he doesn't." Many supporters of the Democratic Party say the comparison between the wise, sober and statesman-like Biden and the wild and lawless Trump has been obliterated by speculation over Biden's health and cognitive decline. Biden needed to use the debate to turn around a race he was already in danger of losing, and he may now have squandered his best chance to overtake the former president. That is the worry many Democrats now have. In a new effort to calm public concern, Biden will give an interview to ABC News on Friday. And today, he is scheduled to meet Democratic governors in Washington, both in person and virtually, following demands for direct contact. But will any of this help? A new CNN SSRS poll shows that 3/4 of Americans believe Democrats would have a better chance of beating Trump with a candidate other than Biden. And even otherwise unpopular Vice President Kamala Harris fared better in the matchup with Donald Trump than her boss, trailing by 47% to 45%. Biden is down 6 percentage points to the former president. And there are also names of some Democratic governors doing the rounds as possible candidates, one of whom could replace Biden as the party's presidential nominee. The question is this: can Biden still come back from a series of recent disasters, perhaps none worse than his debate performance? Or are we going to see more and more Democrats exert pressure on the president to step aside for the larger good of the party and the country, as they put it?